Time for My Boat.
Several boaters at My Marina have had to ante up to rebuild a water-saturated swim platform. Not an inexpensive proposition. So this week on My Boat, we'll take you through the process of rebuilding a fiberglass swim platform.
Swim platforms are subject to plenty of exposure to water, and with the multitude of hardware mounted to them for supports, ladders, and davits, they become easily saturated if rebedding of the hardware is not done on a regular basis. So our first task in this project was to remove all of the hardware from the platform. In order to remove the rotted and wet balsa core and preserve the top surface, the fiberglass layers were cut out from the underside using an angle grinder with a cut-off disc, by first cutting around the outer edge, then cutting a grid pattern. The fiberglass was removed in sections with a wood chisel, exposing the core. When various sections of the balsa core were exposed, it was amazing to see the extent of the rot and water damage. Section by section, the fiberglass was peeled away and the rotten core was also removed with a wood chisel, leaving behind the fiberglass layers of the upper surface, edges, and mounting tabs. With the core removed, the raw glass was ground and sanded with a 60 grit wheel to prep the inside surface and left to dry.
With the hard task of removing the core and prepping the fiberglass behind us, the next step is to make the pattern to cut the Coosa core for the platform.
Using paper, a pattern was made to cut the new coring material to replace the old balsa. We elected to use Coosa board structural coring material made from high-density polyurethane foam reinforced with woven roving and continuous strands of fiberglass. This half-inch material is significantly lighter than plywood and resists moisture, making it ideal for this application. The paper pattern was laid out on the board and the pattern was transferred. After tracing out the pattern, the board was cut to shape using a jigsaw. The final prep of the board was to drill 1/4 inch holes every 8 inches to allow air to escape and to increase the mechanical bond when the board was bedded in place. With all of the cutting and drilling complete, all mating surfaces were washed with acetone to ensure a clean bonding surface. To bed and adhere the Coosa core to the original skin, a filling and bonding putty was prepared using mass epoxy. A mixture of 1/2 flag and 1/2 medium resin was prepared and thickened with Cabasil to create the putty. After mixing in the required mass medium catalyst or hardener, the putty was applied to the platform with a 1/4 inch notch trowel. Then the Coosa board was laid in, pressed into the putty mixture, and weighted down with heavy cartons to hold it in place and allowed to cure for 48 hours. To ensure the maximum strength of the rebuilt platform, I elected to use 2 layers of 1708 biaxial fiberglass cloth for the replacement underside skin. Both layers of the cloth were pre-cut, ensuring that sufficient material was available to adhere to the inside edges of the platform. Using mass low viscosity resin and medium hardener, the first layer of cloth was wetted out and set in place mat side out. Next, the top surface of the cloth was wetted out with additional resin. With the cloth in place, large and small fiberglass laminate rollers were used to roll out the excess resin and air pockets, ensuring a solid bond to the Coosa core and the original fiberglass structure of the platform. When this layer cured, the process was repeated again. Next, the swim platform had to be prepped for finishing. First, the raw strands and edges of the fiberglass overlapping the edges of the platform were ground off with a 40 grit wheel, and then they were sanded with an orbital sander with 100 grit paper.
With the core and fiberglass work done, next up the swim platform has to be prepped for refinishing and painting. So join us next week as we complete the project.